Well, high-tech shit this. We're not making the sequel to Top Gun. We're got the headphones on. Do you want headphones? How'd you know my name was Phones? So we're going to take the boat out to test. We've just had the engines serviced, and we've had the inverter put on and updated. So we're going to see if the engines are going okay. We're going to test the inverter, and so we just need communication so that we're not shouting at the back of the boat, and when I say go left or right and Sue says is that starboard or port, we have that ongoing argument as to why we ever talk about port and starboard. Why don't we just say left and right? No one's told us incidentally what the point of saying port or starboard is. Why not just left or right?
You just don't listen, do you? You just won't. You don't like the answer.
So when we get out there, we're going to find a place to either anchor or moor, and then I'm going to go over the back of the boat again and see one of the trim tabs is not going up and down regularly.
Smooth.
It just smooth, it jerks. I'm going to see if there's any shell obstructing, and anyhow that's what we're doing. But we just thought we'd show you the high-tech stuff that we're operating under here. It's just a headphone city here, so we'll be back.
Well, I'm on rope duties. You're on.
Well,
taking
yes,
it out.
it's a bit windy here, so I'm going to take the old truck out, and if it prangs, I'm the one that's insured, so I have to deal with the insurance company. Sue will just
Do the bookwork.
Right, we'll be back. No, we don't need the cone of silence, but Sue's in the anchor bay here, and our intentions, sorry I'm so close, but our intentions were to go out and anchor and have a bit of a meal and stay out overnight. So we went out and we found the steering wasn't working, the steering wheel. We found it was devoid of oil, steering oil. Steering transmission fluid or oil. So we let the anchor down, and then we realised the anchor wasn't working because, see this here, this has just been fixed. See this panel here, you see how that's moving?
Have a look. They haven't even put this bracket on. If you put it in here, they haven't put a bolt on here.
Or there, or there, or there.
Or there, or there. So they only put one on. How rude.
So consequently,
the anchor went poopy.
so the anchor tripped out, this is the trip switch here. This is the trip switch. It tripped out, and I had to, in heavy rolling seas, unclip this, take it off, and trip it so we could get the anchor up. So the anchor then decided to completely let go, and it let out 150 feet of anchor in 12 feet of water. So had we not been able to deploy the anchor to bring it back up, we'd still be there. So that ended our short trip for the day. So you can just get out while I take the film here. So this is what gathered on the anchor, the mud. That's from anchoring out just outside. And I was going to drop, I'm going to just ask my assistant here, I was going to drop, do you think it's worth dropping the anchor down to get the mud off it in the marina here? Do you think, no, don't do that, don't do that, no, don't do that, hang on. No, you're missing what I'm saying. Do you think the anchor will work, seeing as those things are loose in there?
We're going to have to give it a try.
Righto, we don't have to, we can get the hose, but let's... So here we go.
It's probably easier to take it out.
Here we go.
Ready?
We're going to deploy the anchor. Oh my God. We've turned the anchor off, Suze. We're back now. We're just going to let the anchor down. This will be... There it is. Now we're just trying to drop it into the marina, the water, and hopefully the mud will. Now we reckon we'll just give that some time to soak. Will we try and pull it up? Let's just see if we can pull it up for a start. Which one's that up? Here we go. Not bad.
Not bad.
We'll leave it down there for a little while. So that's it. We'll just wait for the mud to get off it. We could get the hose, but this is a lot easier now that we think the anchor's working. And that's two things that have happened. We've had the
Steering.
the steering wheel, it did not have any steering fluid in it,
That was
which I'd only filled up the last time we went out. So there's something wrong with that. That's leaking either into the panel behind the helm, and therefore there'll be steering fluid all over the carpet at some stage, or no, that's the only thing. It's obviously
there's a leak somewhere anyway.
There's a leak somewhere.
Find the leak in the steering wheel and get these guys to fix what they're supposed to fix.
Yeah, we won't mention who they are until they say they can't come in the near future, and then we'll tip them in. So that's it. That's another day bitten the dust. Paradise. Now look, as what day?
113.
As day 113. Bullshit. As day 113 comes to a close, I've learned 3 things about the boat today. How can you be here for 113 days and still be learning 3 things about the boat? Firstly, the anchor doesn't work unless the people who bolt the machinery into making the windlass anchor work,
which you got them to do.
Which I got them to, don't actually put the bolts in and put the nuts on the end of the bolts. So it falls out of its little container and makes lifting the anchor extremely difficult. So I learnt that. Secondly, the man next door, Chris, he said in a boat, he said, why do you use the water out of your tank? Why don't you use the tap water on the marina and plug the hose in off the tap into that outlet on the boat? I said, I didn't know I had one. And he said, well, let's just let me show you. So he got a hose and he plugged it into his thing and he plugged it into my thing. And he said, turn the water pumps off down in the engine room, which I did. And voila, the water worked.
It did.
So then he took his hose off and I got my hose out.
Said, thank you very much. And we tried it again. And
yep.
Did your hose work?
Well, I'm about to tell you. So I got my hose out, our hose out, and I clipped it on and put it in exactly the same thing. And we said, thank you very much, Chris. That's fantastic. And we went and turned the water on. Nothing. Not even a dribble came out. So I said, oh, Chris, could you drop by again, please? So he came over and he said, no, it's not working. I said, how could it work when you were here and when I'm here it doesn't? He said, it's a very good point. He said, I'll give you a number of a shipwright. Really? I said, that's extraordinary. So there's 2 things. What are you doing?
You're looking there.
No, I'm not.
Excuse me.
So what's the third thing? So the third thing was, oh yeah. So you might remember I said this morning we went out and the steering wheel didn't work, and I said it was out of fluid, and he said, have you pumped up the pressure tank to make the hydraulic steering ram work? I said, what did you say? He said, I said, don't repeat it. I never knew it had a pressure tank that had to be pumped up. So we go down, we found a gauge in the rudder room.
The rudder
room. He said, I had a torch. He said, did you know that it's got a light in here? See, there's the light switch. I said, no, I didn't know that, Chris. He said, you wouldn't like to live on the boat for a week. Anyhow, so I said, where do you pump the pressure gauge up so that the steering wheel works? He said, well, you've never done that before. I said, no. He said, that's probably why the steering doesn't work. So there's 3 things I've learned today. The pressure gauge for make the steering wheel work. The anchor stuff I can understand because the bolts weren't in it. And the water coming off the mains pressure to say you don't have to use the water in your tanks. There's 3 things. It's amazing, isn't it? And someone said, I'm still, Sue, you there?
Yeah.
I'm still asking for someone to tell us why the universal call sign for going left or right is not port or starboard, is left or right. And someone said, well, what about passenger and driver side of a car? I said, that's fantastic. What happens if you're in America? It's completely opposite. But the universal side for someone's left-hand side and right-hand side is, as I said, universal. There's no argument. So why do we give it fancy, stupid, irrelevant, redundant names? And you say?
You just can't take the answer that should be.
No,
but on the other
no,
point is...
that is a meaningless platitude. What did you say then? You sound like Kamala Harris. What did you say then?
Well, we've given the answer. It is a
What is the answer?
It is a universal, whether you're backwards, where you're going to face backward, or you're going to face forward. It is always on the left or the right, which is called port or starboard. It's not left, because is it your left or is it my left?
And that
it
is
port starboard.
And that is where we end the conversation, because that is absolute nonsense.
But on the other hand, you can teach an old dog new tricks.
Woof.